Are you connected to the rose line? And what does that mean for you? More and more of us are tuning in to the energy of the rose line, or the lineage of the rose, or to the rose herself. And everyone places a different meaning on that. And this is the beauty of it. The rose, the grid of the rose, is awakening on the planet as we shift more into this higher frequency that we refer to as 5D. You may call it New Earth. But the grid is awakening. The energetic grid in the earth that holds the essence of the rose. And by this I mean the rose lineage, not just the physical rose, although that's part of it. It is awakening, and it is awakening us. And so there is a lot more information out there now about the rose line, but everyone brings in their own interpretation. And the interpretation that I bring really has its foundation in some writings that I was channeling from the rose line around 2004, 4, around that time. And what I talk about today on this channel, and the channelings I share, the meditations I share, we're bringing in nature today because that's an integral part of the rose line. So all of that I share is based on what I originally received about the rose line in, it was in those early 2000s. But I have watched with delight, really, over that time, to see how the rose has blossomed in others, how others have an interpretation of the rose line, of what that means to them. And you may have watched my last video where I was talking about what is the truth of Mary Magdalene's story. And in that I shared how my perspective is there isn't just one truth. They're all different frequencies. And this is what I love, watching the rose blossom, or the rose line blossom around the world, is the different interpretations that people have around what the rose line is, and the awakening and the activation that is causing or bringing about within them. For me, the rose line has always been very connected with the earth herself. And this is why it felt important to record this video outside, even though I realize there are a lot of external noises because there are lots of birds around. But the frequency they are bringing in is also an important frequency of the rose line. And actually, one of the rose line oracles comes to me as I say that, and that's Francis of Assisi, who is often shown with the birds around him because he was said to preach to the birds. They hold this higher frequency that is in resonance with the rose line. And I really believe it is waking up now, because we are co-creating New Earth. We are co-creating this fifth dimensional reality, and we're moving in and out of it. And the rose grid is a part of this frequency. So you may have found your channel into the rose line, may have come through roses. It may be that you've always loved roses and you've explored that, and then you've suddenly come across, oh my gosh, there's this rose line, there's this soul lineage, what is this about? Or perhaps you've come to this path through one of the rose line beings, and I just mentioned Mary Magdalene. Like, her frequency has brought many into the rose line. Although from my perspective, she is one of the 11 oracles, and not necessarily any more or less important than the others. They all play a role, but they're all different frequencies. And because the Magdalene frequency is being so strongly activated in us at the moment, there are many being drawn into the rose line frequency through her frequency. Another one that people just love, like there's often a strong resonance with, is Joan of Arc. Again, she comes from this lineage. She's a part of this lineage, but she brings through a very different frequency. And I mentioned Francis of Assisi, also a part of this lineage, but bringing in another frequency. It's like they're all different doorways, and you feel a resonance with a particular doorway, and so you enter, and it's like you enter into the world of the rose line. So I'm really interested to hear from you. What is it about the rose line that resonates for you? What was your doorway in? And what I love about this path is that it is unique for each of us. When I'm recording my meditations and my activations for the ladies in the Temple of the Rose membership, I will often talk about that their own rose blossoms in their heart chakra, and this rose holds their unique frequency of the rose line. And depending where you're at in your evolution, you will be resonant with the different frequencies of the rose line. I often see the different beings of the rose line as different petals of the same rose. And we are also petals of that rose. And that rose, the rose herself, as I spoke about a couple of videos ago, I feel is like the heart of the Great Mother. It is the Mother Mary energy. And that's how I would often describe the rose line. I feel like it is the heart of the Great Mother incarnating now on earth. She's been denied for so long. She's been shamed for so long. We talked about this in our membership call last night. The shame through our lineage, the shame through both the lineage, the matriarchal and the patriarchal lineage. She has been shamed for so long, but now she is blossoming open. She is returning. And all of those different beings who have incarnated, who are connected to this lineage, have left their codes here. They've activated the codes in the earth, and they've left their codes of the rose line for this time, for this great awakening, for this great blossoming that is happening, where we are fully embracing the sacred feminine energy again, to enable the sacred masculine to come in and join in this sacred union within, that is part of the shift to the new earth frequency. And all the rose line beings that I channel hold this frequency of sacred union, and certainly Yeshua and Mary Magdalene really anchored in those codes very strongly in their incarnation, despite the denial of Magdalene, and only really in more recent times the rediscovery to bring the feminine back into this sacred union, because this is needed now. This is needed for new earth. And this is why you are here, and this is why you are connected to the rose line, because you are also going through this journey to remember what it is to hold this sacred union within, this harmony between your inner feminine and inner masculine, because that is the frequency of new earth. That is the frequency of the fifth dimension. And so as I've explored the rose line further, and especially through the membership, because I record personal activations for some of the tiers of the membership, so every month I'm recording those, and each time I will channel a different rose line being, depending on who shows up while I'm in the middle of the channeling, or in the middle of recording the activation. And I'm quite surprised by who shows up sometimes. So I have the 11 main oracles that I've created videos on, but there are many, many more, and some of them I call the Roseline Mystics, some of them I call the Roseline Rebels, some of the Guardians of the Roseline, and this is the third level of my Priestess of the Rose Temple initiation, where we're exploring the Guardians of the Roseline at the moment. But they're not all ancient, if you like. There are modern ones. You know, sometimes when they come through in the activations, I'm like, oh, really? You're Roseline? And it's quite surprising. And so more modern what would I call them? More, I was going to say members, they're not members, but aspects of the Rose Line are Princess Diana, Frida Kahlo. They hold this energy really strongly. And then there are the mystics like Rumi, Omar Khayyam, Julian of Norwich, Saint Teresa of Avila, St. Patrick, Bridget. There are so many. And sometimes they don't all come through me. One of my clients, one of the ladies in my membership might suggest one. And I'm like, oh yeah, I can feel that. And then I will know for sure when they come through in a recording of an activation or in a group channeling. It's like, oh yeah, okay, you're ready for your presence to be felt. You're ready for your codes to be activated. And part of the reason I wanted to just throw those into this video is because I want to hear who you feel. Because sometimes some of the ladies suggest someone who I don't know, but they feel for them that these codes of this person, whether they're still alive or not, hold the rose frequency. So I'd love to hear your suggestions. Who do you feel is part of the Rose Line? Who activates the codes of the rose in you? I really feel it's important to acknowledge these beings, to acknowledge their codes, to acknowledge this rose grid that we are creating, because this is providing the foundation of love for the new earth. This is what it's all about. It's so beautiful and it's so exciting. And a part of my role in creating these videos, in having this channel, in having my membership, in taking people on retreat to really connect with the codes in the land, a part of my role is to bring together, to gather together all of these beautiful rose petals into a big basket, into a big bunch of roses, so that we can be in our power, so that we can co-create this new earth on this foundation of love and sacred union. It's so exciting. And I want to make something really clear here from my perspective. I do not look at someone else who is channeling the Rose Line or the lineage of the rose and see that as, oh no, someone else is doing it. I celebrate it. It's like, oh my gosh, that person has a different frequency to me, which means they're going to attract in more people that maybe aren't resonant with me. But all of these people are being activated in the rose energy, in the rose frequency. They are remembering their soul lineage. And something I forgot to mention there, just popped into my head, is another way that you may know that you are resonant with the Rose Line, that you are part of it, is you have a resonance with Venus. Venus is the home of the Rose Line. And so if you feel that resonance, you know the rose is important to you. Now, I feel like human life and machinery is pushing me out now because the neighbors have the lawnmower going. One thing to have bird sounds, we don't need to have the lawnmower coming into this video. So I'm going to take that as my cue to complete this video now, but I'm so looking forward to hearing your response. Rose blessings to you.